like you need that, right? You have no you don't have to be on there. I'd rather see you working, right? I'd rather see you implementing and executing in your business, which reminds me of something else that I want to share with you. And that is that, look, and the original Elevate folks, the folks that were in the when it was Mentor to a Million, have heard me say so many times that the only value in learning is through the execution and implementation. That at the end of the day, there's no value in simply learning something if you're not executing on it as it relates to marketing, right? There's no value in you simply studying principles or strategies or tactics for that matter and not executing. I would rather you execute to the best of your ability, regardless of whether you feel your understanding is dialed or not. At the end of the day, it's not about you trying to execute with perfect precision. There is no such thing. No matter where you are in your understanding, in your development, in your skill set, in your core competencies, trust me when I tell you that a year from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, you are going to look back and your knowledge is going to be here compared to where it is today. And you're going to say, oh, I would have done that differently, or I would have tweaked that, or I would have changed that, or I would have gone about that differently. That's okay. I deal with that constantly. You're going to deal with that constantly. That's okay, because this is a business of iteration. It's a business of optimization. It's a business of improvement. You're going to see that as we are about to next week enter the most intense 3 weeks of this program, where we go through the engineering stage, that immediately after the engineering stage, we go into the evaluate stage. And that's because, in other words, we really go into the evaluate and then we go into the enhance. And I'm sharing that with you because I want you to understand that evaluate and enhance is really all about improving. It's all about optimizing, right? It's all about tweaking. This is a business of iteration, of changes. And so your goal, your aim, your objective, your job is not to try to nail it perfectly. Your goal, your objective, your aim is to execute on what it is that you know and understand today, and to use these calls, these sessions, as a way to get oversight and feedback. And so Alice asked very quickly, so am I to understand that you're recommending to make adjustments to current funnels based on the weekly message assignment, or to wait to complete and then redo? Great question, Alice. So that depends. It depends on whether you are creating a new funnel in the E5 Camp Masterclass. If you're working on a new funnel, a brand new funnel, then ultimately what you want to do is you want to simply execute week to week. And week to week, you'll be putting together the pieces for the funnel, right? So you're going to see it. You're going to put together the funnel thesis, and you're going to put together the big idea, and then you're going to put together the messaging. If you are working on an existing funnel and you are currently using the E5 Masterclass to kind of optimize an existing funnel, what I would recommend that you do is I would recommend that you work on the funnel week to week with the assignments, but that you don't execute, you don't actually roll out the changes until we get to that part in the program, until we get to the evaluate module. So and so then you'll know, like you'll know if you're working on an existing funnel right now, you'll know if your existing funnel is off the mark, like in terms of the big idea. So you'll be able to tweak it. You'll understand what needs to be fixed as we go through. But if you're working on an existing funnel, I don't want to see you roll out one piece at a time. I don't want to see you change your copy one piece at a time and then in the following module, the following lesson, roll out another piece. There's a point in the process where we are going to take the improvements and we are going to evaluate them. And what you'll learn how to do is you'll learn through that evaluation process how to evaluate the overall performance of the funnel. But even more important, you'll understand how to evaluate what is called the constraint in the funnel, ultimately identifying if the funnel isn't producing the ROI that you want, if it's not allowing you to break even, It's a front-end funnel. It's not allowing you to break even, for example. And I'm going to explain all that to you. I'm going to show you the numbers, the metrics to look at that'll tell you what piece of the funnel is the constraint, what the constraint is, what that means, how to identify it, and then ultimately how to go about fixing it so that you're pinpointing the one part of the funnel that when we improve it will ultimately lead to the biggest jump in ROI. So have no fear. I'm with you, Alice. You're welcome. Last thing, if you want to chat live, you can just let me know in the chat section. Without David, I'll just pick in order. If you want to type a question into the chat section, that's totally cool too. If you don't want to be on camera, that's totally cool. This is totally chill. So don't worry about, any kind of formal process. So with that being said, what I want to do is, I know I saw Travis on here. And so I want to start with Travis because Travis sent over a bunch of stuff. So, hey, Travis, what's up, buddy?
There, unmuted. Hey, Todd.
How are you, man?
Doing well, yourself?
I'm doing great, man. So, by the way, thank you. Had the chance to finally catch up with Mike Filsane the other day. And so that was kind of cool. I think he and I will be chatting next week again. And so he mentioned you and your conversation. And so very cool. Thank you for that.
Good.
So the reason why, guys, I decided to start with Travis was because Travis sent over some worksheets, some documents that he worked on for my review. And so I had the chance to dig in to Travis's stuff. And what I decided to do as I was really digging in and looking at what Travis put together, and I'm very familiar with one of his competitors, or one of the people that were kind of examined, one of the businesses. And so what I decided to do was I want to show you some of the stuff that that Travis sent over. And Travis, I won't show your worksheets, but what I do want to do is without showing any sensitive information, what I do want to do is I want to show you a couple of things that you can improve on in your research. And I want to show you a couple of things that are critical. And so I'm going to share my screen here. Let me see something.
And Todd, the documents I sent you can be shared. So if you need to. Okay.
That's cool. Very cool. So let me see here. I want to pull, which do I want to pull up? Okay. So the very first thing that, let me see here. Let me move this over and then let me share my screen. And you guys tell me if you can see my screen. Good. Thumbs up. You can see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay. So, and this is in no particular order, but so this was one of the documents that Travis put together. And, I love it. I love seeing, I love it. It warms my heart when I see stuff like this because I know that a marketer is really digging in. And so when I was going through this, when I was going through this, the very first thing that I noticed, Travis, was over here under the delivery mechanism. And this is very important. I want to show you guys something. I think that this is going to be very, very helpful for you. And so please pay attention to this. So under delivery mechanism, unique mechanism, right? You could see that Travis put in here the bullet, what delivers on the primary promise, what's unique and different, right? Their unfair advantage. And so Travis, you put in the 2-day live story brand workshop with Donald Miller. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Donald Miller, he's got a great little program. He's a published author, and he's got a great program for clarifying your message, for being able to use, he uses a framework. It's like a 7-step process for crafting kind of the story of your market, of your prospect, positioning yourself, positioning your company as the guide, positioning the prospect as the hero of the journey. And so it's very neat. But the thing that I want you to really, let me see this, to understand is that when I say the delivery mechanism or the unique mechanism, which can really be interchangeable here in this context, what I want you to really think about is it's what is it in the product? What is it in the program that fulfills on the promise, right? That fulfills on the promise. So if we look at the primary promise over here on the Story Brand site, right? Clarify your message so people engage. What I want you to understand is that the unique mechanism, the delivery mechanism, is what is the unique piece, part, component of his product that delivers that result? What is it about the thing that he is selling that allows you to develop a message that is clear and crisp so that your market engages? And the answer to that question is right here. And it is the Story Brand process. So the unique mechanism, the delivery mechanism, I'm not talking about how the program is delivered. I'm not talking about like whether it's delivered live or it's delivered digitally or whether it's delivered on DVDs or CDs or anything like that. I'm talking about what is it that's part of the program that delivers the promise, that fulfills the promise, that delivers the result. Why is it that Donald Miller is able to say, you will experience X, Y, Z. You'll have a clearer message so your prospects engage. What is it that he is teaching? What is it that he is showing? What is it that he is demonstrating that gives his prospects that? And to really highlight an example of when, and so wait, first and foremost, Travis, does that make sense?
No, this is absolutely great. And I wanted to go deeper on that one and general marketing claims, because those are the two I was like, I think I'm in the right area, but obviously
I'm going to show you, because I actually, I put together a little document myself to show you some of the general marketing claims from StoryBrand for everybody. But that's the important thing that I want you to understand, is that what Donald Miller is doing here in this competitor, what Donald Miller is doing is he is making a promise, right? And he's attaching it to a unique mechanism. For Donald Miller, this is a unique mechanism because, right, it's a proprietary mechanism, meaning that, remember, and you're going to learn how to thoroughly do this. Remember, we're in the examination stage right now. You're going to learn how to do this for yourself very soon. But so, right, he's making a promise, and that promise is being delivered by a unique mechanism. What did Donald Miller do? Right? He took the formula for putting together a story. Really, if you've studied story at all, you'll see that it's really kind of the hero's journey. That's really what his Story Brand process is. And he shows you how to apply the hero's journey to your marketing, where, right, there's the hero is the prospect. There's a guide. The guide is you and your company. There is, where is the prospect right now, right? They make a discovery. What is that discovery? It's this process. And right, and he leads you through that framework and shows you it's a very simple seven-step framework. But so what Donald Miller, and get this, please, because this is so insanely valuable, that what Donald Miller did was, notice, he didn't say, I'm going to teach you the seven steps to putting together your brand story. He didn't say that. Remember I said to you, we don't sell the generic. We don't market the generic, right? Because if he would have said, right, that I'm going to teach you the 7 steps to putting together your brand story. Remember I said to you guys at MFA Live, you heard me say that what happens is that becomes a Google slap trigger. I immediately press pause. I go over to Google and I search for, right, brand story. 7 steps to developing a brand story. 7 steps to developing a brand story. So a unique mechanism always needs to be proprietary. It needs to be something that if somebody goes over to Google and searches for it, they're not going to find anybody else selling it. If we went over and we typed in Story Brand process or Story Brand, it's only Donald Miller. He took the generic, he took the general, he took the 7 steps to story, and he bundled it under a proprietary title of the Story Brand process. That's one of the ways to create a unique mechanism. So you're going to see how to do that. But that is the most important piece that stood out immediately in here, that you want to know, you want to understand, is your market Are your competitors making a promise? Are they expanding a promise? Or are they making a promise with a unique mechanism? If we took this away and we look at this, you can very clearly see where Donald Miller is at on this promise exposure spectrum. You can see that he's right here, right? If all he did was make a promise of clarify your message so people engage, and that's it, and he didn't tie it to a unique mechanism, right? Then he would be here. He would be in this stage. He would, meaning that he would have designed a message based on this stage. And the reality is, so that you can start to understand that this market that he's talking to is beyond that. In other words, they're beyond, they've heard clarify your message. They've heard get attention. They've heard get engagement from prospects. We can do a search of that and we'll find endless free articles, endless free videos on that kind of stuff. So what separates this, what makes this so unique, so different, is the unique mechanism, right? What makes this compelling is the unique mechanism. Because understand, right? And I can tell you that my team has gone through this process. That's why I'm so familiar with the story brand process. But what makes this compelling? Remember, you heard me say that it is the unique mechanism. It's the unique mechanism that makes prospects say, maybe now it'll work. Maybe this time. That's what we've been missing. We've tried stories before. We've tried to clarify our message before. We tried to come up with a crisp idea before and communicate it clearly, and it just didn't work. What we were probably missing is this process, this framework, this methodology. And so that is, that's a very important point that I want you guys to get. Make sense, Travis?
This has been fucking awesome.
Okay. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
You got it. So let me see something here. Whoops, let me move this over here. Okay. Okay, so Yassine asks, it's the process that's unique to them. Correct. Right. It's not like, look, I've said before, you heard me talk about that, look, let's say this. The one thing that I want you to see here is that in most markets, the majority of markets, certainly the markets where direct response marketers already operate, where there are already direct response marketers in the market, the overwhelming odds are that the promise or promises that are most compelling, most exciting, the promises that most resonate with your market have already been made. In other words, like you heard me say that if you have a product or service and you are promising something that your prospects have never heard before, and you know that it's exciting, you know, based on your research, based on your examination, based on your analysis, that prospects are going to freak out over this promise, that it's exactly what they've wanted, but nobody else has been able to deliver it before. You've come up with a new product, a new widget, a new thing, something, right? And you're now able to make a promise that nobody's ever made before, right? Beautiful. All you have to do to craft your message is make that promise. You don't have to worry about a unique mechanism. You don't have to worry about a big idea. All you have to do is make that promise. Why? Because that promise in and of itself is going to act as a pattern interrupt. That promise itself is going to get attention and create engagement. But in the overwhelming majority of markets, you're not going to be making a brand new promise. You're not coming out with a product that is that revolutionary, most of you, right? And so what that means is the difference between this stage, right, and this stage, and this stage, and this stage is not the promise. The promise is going to remain the same, right? The base of the promise, the core of the promise is going to remain the same. Meaning, right, that the promise could be clarify your message so people engage. Promise. Then we might see an expanded promise. Clarify your message so you capture 50% of your market share, right? Like they start to expand the promise, right? But the core of the promise is the same. Then when we go to this stage, the promise is still the same, but we don't expand on it. It's not about expanding it anymore. It's about introducing the mechanism. Clarify your message so people engage because of the story brand process. Now, in some cases, and I want to make this clear, in some cases, you can, if you're selling a physical product, if you're selling a vitamin supplement, for example, you may see that somebody comes along and steals your unique mechanism. That means if we're selling a vitamin supplement, right, if we're selling a fat burner, right, that example that I use all the time, and we now put in Garcinia cambogia, right, and we're the first and only supplement on the market right now to be able to say you're going to lose a minimum of 3 pounds of pure fat every week because of the Garcinia cambogia that blocks fat and blah, 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 blah. Well, right now that may be a unique mechanism, but in a month or 2 months, other companies might come along and snake that. And now they might incorporate Garcinia cambogia into their product. Well, if you don't evolve your marketing message and you simply try to sell based on Garcinia cambogia, you actually no longer have a unique mechanism. You just have a promise and a mechanism. That's all you have. And that mechanism goes from unique to common, right? Because others have it. And so at that point, right, you evolve, your message needs to evolve from promise and unique mechanism to promise and expanded mechanism. Meaning it becomes, cold pressed Garcinia, Garcinia from the rainforest, whatever it may be. Now, I share that with you because I want you to understand that for those of you that are in the information publishing world, that are in the information marketing world, that are in the consulting world, you're in a better position, and you're in a better position because you don't have to worry about that, right? Because you can coin a proprietary process that you can actually, trademark, if you will, a unique mechanism, your proprietary process. That means that nobody else can use the story brand process, right? You use the story brand process, you look to market and sell it, you're going to get sued, right? Whereas, now I want you to understand just a little subtle point, whereas, there are a lot of people today that sell programs based on a tripwire, right? So there are a lot of people that, because it's not, it was given a name, it's not trademarked, it's not a proprietary title. And so there are a lot of people today that talk about the tripwire, but hopefully you can see with Donald Miller that it's all about the process. Now, the interesting thing, Travis, is that the other individual that I saw on that sheet, and this is not, there's no judgment here about these marketers, these companies. That's not what we're doing. But let's look at Melanie Duncan. So now let's look at Melanie Duncan for a second, and let's look at this one offer that Melanie has. So this is double your traffic and sales from Pinterest in less than a week, right? The power of pinning, simple step-by-step system, a proven plan for using Pinterest for business. So what's the unique mechanism here?
A proven way for pinning.
So it's a trick question because there really is no, exactly. Tamalia said she nailed it. There isn't one. This is an example of a message that is really here, right? Meaning it's here because she's saying double your traffic and sales from Pinterest in less than a week. If it was get traffic from Pinterest, right, that would be a pure promise. Get traffic from Pinterest. That's a pure, right? When Pinterest first, when we saw that, or when marketers saw that and believed that there was traction on Pinterest, the first marketer to come out and say how to get traffic from Pinterest, that's a pure promise, right? Then we see people expand the promise, how to double your traffic and sales from Pinterest in less than a week. All that is a promise that is expanded. There is no unique mechanism. I'll tell you that if we did a little bit of research, odds are what's going to happen is that we're going to find a lot of people selling courses and programs that are a version or variation, if not very close to this, of this exact promise, right? This is the kind of thing that, like, if I was a betting man, not knowing anything else other than this cursory overview of her main page that I looked at, a couple of the other offers, and then this page, I would tell you that she may generate sales with this, but the odds are that she'll generate sales, mainly sales, from her house list, from people that know her, like her, and trust her already. But the odds are that this is not going to be an effective marketing funnel or marketing message to cold traffic, because there are so many other people making the same exact claim. That why her process, right? Like, what is different about her process? So Rachna asked, how does her marketplace sophistication tie in? And so that's a great question. So Rachna, the promise exposure spectrum is really, in my thinking, really just replaced the marketplace sophistication. It's really just an easier way of understanding marketplace sophistication. If we looked at pinning, right? If we looked at Pinterest and we took the top 10 competitors in this arena, odds are that what we're going to find are a lot of people right here. A lot of marketers that are saying double your traffic, triple your traffic, flood your website with traffic and leads. Get the hottest prospects to your website with Pinterest, right? They're going to be expanding the promise. And so for me, right, if I was designing a funnel, a marketing campaign, knowing that the majority are here, right, I'm going to go and I'm going to build a marketing message with a unique mechanism. Right? I'm going to build. Remember that as you go to the right, it still applies to everything else to the left. It just becomes a more complex funnel, meaning the easiest funnel to create is a pure promise, right? Then promise expanded is a more complex funnel, because we have to back up and prove the promise, and we have to back up and prove the expansion. This is a more complex funnel, the promise plus unique mechanism, because we still need to do everything else that we're doing in this, but we need to articulate and explain and prove the unique mechanism and get belief in the unique mechanism. I'm sharing that with you so that you understand, right? If we can create a promise plus unique mechanism all the time, if we can create this type of funnel and it applies to everything else, then why wouldn't we just go to the highest level over here? Why wouldn't we go all the way to the right? And that's just because the farther to the right you go, the more complex, the more deep, the more difficult the funnel is to create. So we're looking for the lowest level of appropriate, we're looking for the lowest stage that is appropriate. But if everybody is here, right, I'm going to go here. Just like if everybody is already making the promise, the stage for you, the evolution for you as a marketer is to go to the next stage. If everybody else is making the same promise or a variation of the same promise, I'm going to expand on it. If everybody is expanding on it like this, right, I'm going to introduce a unique mechanism. If somebody comes along, or if vendors come along, marketers come along and knock off my mechanism, I'm going to expand the mechanism, right? I'm going to expand the mechanism. The beauty is, the beauty is that in the information publishing business, you can create a unique mechanism that truly is proprietary to you, just like the story brand process, where you will never have to evolve to stage 4. You'll always be able to live within in stage 3. That's why you guys and gals heard me say at MFA Live that I almost always create funnels here, right? Because I've developed the, just like you guys and gals will, I've developed the skill set to be able to find the unique mechanism, flesh out the unique mechanism, and develop funnels effectively here. And the beauty is that in our world, you can operate here all day long, and you'll never have to worry about somebody else coming along and stealing your story brand process, forcing you to go to this stage. And so hopefully that makes sense. If you look here, right? If you look here, this should show you that there is no unique mechanism here. And that this is really, if you even look at the power of pinning, the power of pinning is what? It's selling the generic. It's selling a commodity. That's what it's selling. It's selling a commodity. It's selling the power of pinning, right? So the power of pinning, if I put together a message to support the power of pinning, I'm just selling people on the idea of Pinterest and pinning. And if I don't have a unique mechanism in here, I'm just competing with everybody else that is talking about pinning and why you should be pinning and how to get started pinning and how to use pinning and Pinterest to build your traffic and so on and so forth. And so let me see here. So hopefully, Rachna, that answered your question. So Chris said, does the unique mechanism need to be a branded mechanism, or can it be something as simple as the community? The prospect would be, the community the prospect would be joining. Example, joining a membership site. Could the unique mechanism be the community itself, or does it need to be even more specific? So that's a great question, Chris. I would say that, so just remember, always think about the unique mechanism in this light. That the unique mechanism is the thing that delivers the result. It's the thing that fulfills on the promise. So the very first question that I would ask for you, or ask you, or give you, to ponder is, how is it that if you're promising that they're gonna lose weight, let's say, for example, how is it that the community is going to fulfill that? How is it that the community is going to ensure that they lose weight, right? So when you're teaching something, when you're teaching a methodology, when you're teaching a process, when you're teaching a technique, it goes without saying that that process, that methodology, that technique should be proprietary. Remember I said, you're not teaching Facebook advertising, you're teaching your Facebook advertising system. Right? And usually it's something in that system, whether it's the order of things that they do, whether it's, an analysis, whether it's a weird tactic that only you're teaching that you discovered. It's some piece of what it is that you're teaching that they're going to learn, the prospect's going to learn, that when they use, it's going to allow them to get the result. Now, if you said the community, then what I would tell you, if you really said that it's the community, it is the community. It's the community because there's support, because there is motivation, because there is reinforcement. What I would ask you, what I would say is, well, what's unique about that community? Because that's going to be very easy for somebody to come along and knock that off. When somebody else says, we have a community, now what? Right now what? Now you have a community, they have a community. It's your word against their word. But if your community was structured based on a point system that was proven in social psychology to drive more self-discipline, that was based on reward and reinforcement, that leverages psychology, blah, 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 blah. Now you've got something unique. Now they might have a community, right? But they don't have this psychological element, this unique scoring system based on science from UCLA. Right now I can say, okay, so I can see the difference. Now it's, they have the fat burner, they have the fat burner, we have the fat burner, but our fat burner has LMNOP in it, right? And so it becomes this unique piece that only you have that is responsible for giving the result. So Tamalia said, everyone has a community, so that isn't unique. Alice said, very good. Name the community, meaning give the community a special name. And that's their, so Alice is right. And you want to take it a step further though, because let's say, right, let's say I said to you, that, again, we have a community and it's called the LMNOP community. Well, I still, as the prospect, need to understand and see, and I know we're getting ahead here, right? We're getting ahead. I'm sharing this because I'm hoping that this will give you greater insight to understand when you're doing your examination of how to look for the unique mechanism. And so what was I just going to say? You need, it's not enough to have, just a name. You have to look for what is responsible for fulfilling the promise. That's ultimately, if you really boiled it down, if you really boiled it down, what you want to do is you want to be able, like, really, if we strip away, because sometimes this can seem a lot more complex than what it really is. And really what we're talking about here is, right, ultimately, you want to be able to make a promise to your prospect, a promise of outcome, of transformation, a promise of bringing them from where they are now to where they want to be, right? And we're going to paint a picture of what that looks like and how exciting that is and how great their life is going to be, right? And how they're going to leave behind all their troubles now. And we want to show them how we've got something unique in our product, in our program, in our process, in our service that does that moves them from here to there, so that they can finally place their hope and say, that's it. That's what I've been missing. That thing. Nobody else offers that thing. And with that thing, maybe I can go from where I am right now to where I am after. And so that is ultimately what we're looking for. Rachna said, talk about how the community is unique. Yes, thank you. That was great. Travis said, is the goal for the unique mechanism to get to the framework level of 7 habits of highly effective people, something that is unique, can be taught, licensed, and even sold? Wow, I love, Travis, man, the way you think. I love the way you think. And the answer is yes. The thing that I would tell you is that that you want to go beyond just the 7 habits of highly effective people. See, the framework is not the 7 habits of highly effective people. For Stephen Covey, the big framework was the quadrant, right? The 4 quadrants. That was the framework, right? So in other words, if you really think about it in this context, imagine today, just recognize this. See, now this is so great when you see this, because remember I said to you guys and gals that, let's move this. When I said to you guys that every market evolves over time. Every market evolves over time. And they go from this stage to this stage to this stage. Every market evolves over time. I said to you that at one point we had the, take this pill and lose weight, right? The very first fat burner. Early on, the very first take this pill and you'll lose weight. Right? That was brand new. Nobody else had heard that. And nobody made that promise, right? Nobody had heard that promise. That's all they had to make at that time. And then competitors came along. And then, right, competitors started to knock off that promise. Then they evolved to the expanded promise, right? And then they started how to lose tons of weight and 16 pounds and blah, blah, blah. And then it became how to do it with Garcinia, how to do it with L-carnitine, how to do it with this crazy fat burner, that crazy, nutrient. Well, if you look at 7 habits of highly effective people, and imagine if we wanted to create a productivity course today, and we came out with this is the 7 habits of highly effective people, or we changed it slightly to say this is 7 habits of, or 8 habits of fantastically productive people, whatever, right? Well, the reality is we're not selling anything, because that is an immature marketing message today, because markets evolve, because we could go and find articles on that. We could go and find videos on that. If you look now and you look in the productivity space, you look at, let's say, Brendan Bouchard, for example, with the High Performance Academy, and you look, what Brendan has is Brendan has a unique framework. When I say a unique framework, what am I really talking about? Unique mechanism. The framework delivers the results. You follow the framework, you get the result, right? Brendan can say, I'm going to show you how to be wildly productive, right? Because of the High Performance Academy framework. That's the unique mechanism. That's the unique thing that delivers the result. And so hopefully that answers your question. But the beauty is that when you develop that, to answer or really just address the second part of Travis's question, right? I love the way Travis thinks, because let me deviate for 1 second, right? And I tend to do this. You'll see on the profit and growth sessions as part of Elevate that I tend to do this. But I think that it's so valuable for you. I truly believe when I started, about 15 years ago or so, one of the very, very first people that I was exposed to was Dan Kennedy. And Dan was and is and has been the godfather of direct response for many, many, many people in the information publishing space. And I owe a huge debt of gratitude to Dan for everything that I learned from him over the years. With that being said, I think that there is a common thread that you see amongst a lot of information marketers stemming from kind of some of that early teaching from Dan, which is thinking too small, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is that the world has evolved and changed substantially thanks to the net. And today you can have a mega brand. You can have a rich dad, right? You can have a rich dad. You look at rich dad and you look at the cash flow quadrant, right? That's a framework. That's in essence, it's a unique mechanism, a unique mind, a unique approach, a unique reason, right? And so absolutely, Travis, I think that when done right, you could take your, like what you'll ultimately see is you will ultimately see, let me take a step back. Look at E5. Some of you guys and gals that have been with me from day one, think about it. And marketing funnel automation is only a brand that is, I don't know, it's 38 months old, something like that, maybe a little bit longer than that, but maybe 4 years old. Well, when I first released the first version, the first variation, the first version of my methodology, it wasn't in a framework. It was like how to nail your big idea and how to do this and how to do this and over time I saw that it needed to be built into a framework, both for ease of implementation for our clients, but also transparently because of the need in the marketplace. Right? Listen to me carefully here, because this is valuable for you if you get this. Look, when I first launched marketing funnel automation, I saw that funnels were becoming a popular buzzword, right? I saw that it was trending up, right? I saw that more and more people were talking about funnels. And I also saw that there was a gap in the marketplace, meaning I saw that it was becoming more and more popular. People were talking about it more, funnels, and funnels are just a buzzword. Like, let's be real, right? Funnels are just a buzzword. I saw that there was a gap, meaning I saw that there was nobody in the marketplace that had staked their claim on being the funnel person, on being the funnel expert. And so, boom. I said to my buddy, I remember this clearly, having a conversation with Rich Sheffrin. I said, I'm staking my claim. I'm putting my flag down. I'm owning it. Before anybody else can come in and grab it, I'm going to grab it. Now, I believed wholeheartedly that I had the chops and I had the experience and I had the know-how and I had the ability to teach and show, and I was willing to go up against anybody funnel to funnel. But I just simply stuck my claim in it. Now, that was years ago, right? That was whatever it was, 3.5 years ago. And now what's happened to the market? Well, the market has evolved. Back then, it was, right, how to set up a high converting marketing funnel, how to set up a high conversion funnel or something like that. I don't even remember what I said. But today, now look at the market and look at how the market has evolved. Everybody and their brother is a funnel expert, right? Or, funnel expert. Everybody and their brother is promising to teach funnels. You come out with an ad today or a marketing campaign today that's how to build a profitable funnel, you're done. You're dead in the water in the market that we operate in. Why? Because they've heard it, they've seen it. And so I said, we need a more formal, unique mechanism. Now, I had a unique mechanism. I had several unique mechanisms, but I wanted the entire program to be viewed as a unique mechanism, meaning that you could learn how to create a funnel or you can use the E5 customer acquisition marketing protocol, and they're very different, right? And so that E5 customer acquisition marketing protocol, look at it. I named it that. We chose a name, and I chose the name specifically to not contain the word funnel. Why? Because I knew that word, that's a buzzword. It's a trend. That's all it is. It's a trend. And it became this, and then it's going to go like this, right? And I didn't want to build my entire business around this idea of funnels, because at some point that's going to be played out, right? That's going to be played out. And so just like, look, you see these companies that, I know that what won't be played out is customer acquisition. right? What won't be played out, right? Right, conversion, customer acquisition. And so that's why we named it that. You see how that is the kind of thing, to go back to Travis's original point, is that then, right, next year when we release the E5 book, right, we have the E5 book. We could have, if we wanted to, which we don't have any plans right now on the docket, but we could have an E5 certification program. We could have E5 educators. We could turn it into a monster brand. It's not pigeonholed by a one buzzword, right? It's everybody's going to always want customer acquisition. And so hopefully you guys begin to think on that level. Right? And don't just think about, I'm creating a little info product that I'm going to sell. There's nothing wrong with that. And I did that for many, many years, but you've got much bigger opportunities. Yes. Okay, good. Don't worry, Alice. Have no fear. Believe me. You are, when I always say to clients when we go through, in 60 days from the start of the program, so you're going to look back and you're going to be baffled at how much you know and understand, and the beauty of what we're doing. Like I know I'm going off on a crazy tangent here, and I'm so sorry, but the beauty of what we're doing, right? The reason why I get excited most by teaching you guys and gals how to fish, right? Rather than giving you the fish. While there are a lot of marketers out there, a lot of people out there, a lot of companies that are all about give the fish. Here's a template that you can use for your copy. The reason why I hate that, and the reason why I love what it is that you're experiencing, is because when we are at the end of these 60 days, you will be equipped with skills and the ability to generate sales and acquire customers for the rest of your life in any venture, right? In any venture. You will be able to go in and examine the market, identify the hot points, right? And so have no fear. Right now, it's kind of like you're learning the first couple of letters, the first vowels, the first couple of words in the Spanish language. Believe me, in the end, you're going to be in an entirely different place. And so you're very welcome. Let me see here. Okay, so before we go on, so Yassine, I'll definitely do that. Featured benefit exercise. So, okay. So we saw in this, you saw the difference here between this and between the story brand. Now what I want to do, and Travis, helpful so far?
This hour has been completely helpful and provided so much clarity for me. So well done, man. Well done.
Cool. So now I want to show you the little list that I put together. So I saw that, and let me just point something out over here. One other thing before we go into this. So the unique selling proposition, right? So the thing that, the story brand marketing workshops helps companies understand what customers are looking for so they can tell their story in such a way that people listen. So the thing that I want to make sure that you guys and gals understand always with the unique selling proposition is just remember, make sure that you remind yourself of this word, unique. What we're really talking about here is what is the unique benefit? The unique benefit, the benefit that they're getting from this process, from this course, that they're not getting anywhere else. What is the benefit that they're getting from this program, right, that they're not getting anywhere else, right? That might be, it's not the thing. The reason why I'm sharing that with you, right, is because we want to make sure helps companies understand what customers are looking for, right, so they can tell their story in such a way that people listen. One of the things that I always think about when it comes to when I'm looking at a unique mechanism is, and this is kind of one of the criteria that I use, is that can a competitor who's selling a program or a product on stories or on brand attention or on brand engagement, can a competitor come along and take this, right? Take this claim right here and can they paste it on their webpage and not skip a beat, right? So, and if the answer is yes, that's not that this company either doesn't have a unique selling proposition or we haven't identified the unique selling proposition. Right? So it's just important for you to understand that. Let's go to the general marketing claims. So general marketing claims. So I'm going to show you this list that I put together over here. Right? So I already talked about this, the delivery mechanism. General claims. Turn website browsers into buyers. Prevent yourself from losing customers, right? Connect with your customers. Revolutionize your marketing. Grow your company. Quadruple your company's revenue. Create buzz for your company. Create clear and compelling messages that spread like wildfire. This isn't really a benefit, but it is a claim. Learn a language that sells. Don't come off as a pushy salesman. Become a marketing master. Have a proven filter to clarify all of your marketing material. See, these are all of the marketing claims. Where did these come from? These came from literally just going through this page. Clarify your message so people engage. Connect with customers. Revolutionize your marketing. Grow your company. Let's create buzz, right? Create compelling messages that spread like wildfire. Learn a language that sells, right? You don't come off pushy. Become a marketing master. Clarify all your marketing material. It literally just came from going through this webpage. The really interesting thing, right? The beauty of this, and why it's no shock to me that Donald Miller's company, this particular company, is growing so fast. I think they're already a $3.5 million company, just the Story brand. And right, not a bad start for a fairly new new company. But if you really look at this message, it's because it is all about the unique mechanism. Even this quote right here from Michael Hyatt, this is the best marketing innovation I've seen in years. What's the marketing innovation? What marketing innovation? The marketing innovation is the Story brand process, right? The marketing innovation isn't the course. The marketing innovation isn't the promise. The marketing innovation isn't the benefits that they're promising. The marketing innovation is the unique mechanism. It's why when you understand that and digest that and absorb that and get that, it's so powerful, the unique mechanism. And so, Travis, does that help in terms of general marketing claims? You could see what it is that they're talking about here. Right? They're really able to, like, if you look at this, right, they're really able to make such general claims, turn website browsers into buyers. Imagine just, again, the thing to realize, and then I want to move on because we're going to get into this even more when we get into the engineering. The thing that I really want you to understand is what would happen to this message, to the value of this, to the impact of this, if we took out the Story brand process. Then it becomes a immature marketing message that is making general claims that have already been made before. Turn website browsers into buyers, don't lose customers, connect with your customers. If you look at these claims, these general marketing claims, there's nothing special about them, right? If you look at them in a vacuum, out of context of the Story brand process. What makes this whole thing effective is because of the Story brand process is the driver of these things. So even though we've heard this before, what we haven't tried is the Story brand process. And so hopefully that makes sense. Make sense, Travis?
You know, the distinction that you just gave is really probably one of the more impactful things that I hadn't considered. And that is the distinction of, oh yeah, you could use case studies, you could use testimonials, you could use social proof that all relate directly back to the unique mechanism. So it ties that golden thread all the way through the messaging. Love that.
Absolutely. In fact, we got absolutely right. Like, and that's ultimately what you want. Like the beauty is when somebody says, right, like, you know, I use the Story brand process and I can't believe blah, blah, blah happened, or the Story brand process just simplifies everything, gives us a clear path. That's ultimately what you want, right? Because nobody else can knock that off. That's what you're looking for. But we're going to talk about that later on when it comes to testimonial generation, like later on in the program. But the beauty is that if somebody were to say, right, like let's say the clip was, or the quote was something like, the value of stories in my marketing has been incredible. There's no value in that, right, to us, because if this quote said the value of stories or the impact of stories in my business has been incredible. All we're doing is reinforcing the commodity and the generic of stories in marketing. That's not what we're looking to do. We're looking to reinforce the value and impact of the unique mechanism. And so, again, I'm getting ahead of myself because we're not in the engineering yet, but hopefully it's become wildly more clear for you guys. And so let me see here. Sheridan said, you're saying that the unique mechanism is the only thing necessary, that it can be backed up with more generic claims and benefits. They don't have to be unique. Correct. Absolutely. So just to make sure that everybody understands that. So remember that, right? We could take a general promise, how to lose 3 pounds of fat every week, for the next 20 weeks straight, right? Well, that is a claim that people have heard before. If we came out with a marketing message of that claim, it's going to fall on deaf ears because they've heard it, they've seen it, because the market is too mature for that. Meaning they're already seeing messages here. They've evolved, right? They're no longer responding, right? But we could say that, how to lose 3 pounds of fat every week for the next 20 weeks, or how to lose 3 pounds of fat every week for the next 3 months, guaranteed, if we bundle it with a unique mechanism, right? It's how. Tell me how. Think about your prospect. That's what they want to know. How? Are you just making a claim? Because if you're just making a claim, and you're going to learn this, really, I'm going to hammer this into you in the engineering stage, in actually module 4, where simple claims roll off the back of your prospect. You have to have evidence. You have to have proof. And what we're looking for here on this level is something unique that they've never tried before, that they've never experienced before. You got it, Yassine. And so, Magdalena, you're very welcome. Awesome. Hopefully you guys are getting that. Shane said, really great research. Oh, well, you guys can see all these comments. So, okay. So any other questions about the unique mechanism? And I don't mean creating the unique mechanism. I just mean identifying your market. Like, right? I showed you 2 stark, examples. 2 examples that were very different with StoryBrand and Melanie. And right, and you will get to the point where you will immediately be able to see it. And frankly, the last thing that I'm going to say about this, the unique mechanism, unless somebody has a question, is it's why I've said, and I'll say it again, is that when you're in the information business, that you can always operate at this level, and you'll almost never, the reality is that there are lots of funnels that the examination stage becomes much more about what are the promises and claims that the market is most responding to. But then I come along and I build a unique mechanism. Like, I almost always go into a funnel knowing I'm going to create a unique mechanism that's the thing that delivers the result. You look back at almost any funnel that I've created for marketing funnel automation, or any funnel that our agency has created, and you'll always see a unique mechanism in there. Always in there. And so hopefully that makes sense. So I can't remember if it was Jamie, Jaime. Are you saying, I do remember that it was a good looking man who asked this question. So are you saying physical, product creation of the unique mechanism is harder? And the answer is yes. The physical product, creating a unique mechanism, or really I should say engineering a unique mechanism, is harder for a physical product when the product is done already, right? In other words, because we are dealing with an existing product with existing features, existing elements, existing components, and we have to work with what we have. Like, if you have a vitamin supplement, and the vitamin supplement has, vitamin A and vitamin C in it, and that's it, let's just say, very difficult to come up with a unique mechanism if there really is no special formulation. There is nothing attached to the nutrients, like, there is no digestive enzyme. There is no unique formulation. You're dealing with what you are dealing. We could still develop or engineer a unique mechanism, which you're going to learn how to do, but it's definitely a lot more difficult. It's definitely a lot more difficult. Magdalena said, do you create a unique mechanism for business or every product or workshop that the business has? Excellent question, Magdalena. And the answer is that it's more likely that you'll have a unique mechanism for each product. And so really the way to think about it is this. The way to think about it is that you might have, let's take this. Let's take Melanie, for example. So Melanie has this product, this how to get traffic with Pinterest, but she also had another product on her website when I was going through to prepare for this that was about the ultimate lead magnet or something like that, how to create the perfect lead magnet. And so those are really two different promises that she's got to look and she's got to see what is the, where on the promise exposure spectrum is her prospects as it relates to this Pinterest program. And then she has to do the same exact thing, the same exact examination process for her program on lead magnet. Why? Because let's say the market might be very low on the promise exposure spectrum for the lead magnet, just hypothetically, right? We know it's not, but just hypothetically. But it might be much further along on the promise exposure spectrum for this product. Why? Because what it really stems from is the promise. It's all about the promise that you're going to make, right? And so you have to say, I'm going to promise that they can get traffic from Pinterest. So now let me see where on the promise exposure spectrum the market is as it relates to that promise. Have they heard it before, right? Have they heard that promise before? Yes. Are other companies expanding on that promise? Yes. Are there other are people selling unique mechanisms? Is there a unique algorithm? Is there a mathematical formula that we use? Is there an image technique that we teach that is the reason why our Pinterest program works, right? Right? Then we might go there with the Pinterest program, but we might be at a vastly different spot on the promise exposure spectrum for the other product, even though they're both being sold by the same company. So hopefully that makes sense. Now look, let's take a look for 1 second. So we've got Yassine. I'm not sure if Yassine is still with us, but so Yassine comes from Ryan Levesque's world. So those of you that I think everybody you guys all got to see on here. Everybody got to see. I think no, maybe not everybody on here did get to see Ryan. But so, yeah. So you guys know that, right? So Ryan, So Ryan, the beauty is, let me do this. Okay. So Ryan, right? What is Ryan known for? Ryan is known for the ask method. Now, I want you to think about this for 1 second, okay? I want you to think about, so what is the promise? And this doesn't have to be exact. Maybe if Yassine is still on here, I think Yassine is still on here. Let me see. Maybe he's not on here. I thought he was on here.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he is.
Hey, Todd, Yassine, he's on an airplane. He's just taking off towards Austin. So
okay.
He'll have some weak connection.
Okay, no biggie. Yeah. Okay. So Yassine, right, coming from Ryan's world, right? So who somebody else just shout out or type into the box what's Ryan, what's the promise that Ryan is making? Like, or one of the main promises that Ryan makes, right? Well, let's see if, yeah, right. So that's a great one. So Rachna said, right, generate leads, right? Like ultimately, so think about this. So Rachna said, well, just remember something. So I'm not sure, is it Jamie, Jaime? So, Jaime. Okay, got it. Awesome. Okay. So hang on. So this is valuable here. And so this is what happens. This is why sometimes these calls turn into a 2.5-hour marathon. But this is so valuable for you guys, and that we have to address this. So look, so just very quickly, right? So a couple of you guys wrote, tailor offer to your specific client. So Jennifer said tailor offer to specific client needs. Good answer. So Magdalena said put leads to a bucket and get more sales, right? John said build offers based on what your prospects and clients want. Travis said use segmentation and buckets for total world domination. I like that. And so the thing that I just want to address very quickly, right? And Jaime said segment, is that the promise is not segment. The promise is not tailoring your offer to client specific needs. The promise isn't put leads into a bucket. If you really look at those things, right, those are all part of the process of the ask method. The promise really is, right, how to convert more visitors into sales, how to grow your sales, how to get more customers, how to grow your business, right? His promise is ultimately the same thing that anybody else that's teaching marketing, that's teaching business building is promising. But his unique mechanism is what? His whole entire business is built on the back of a unique mechanism. His unique mechanism is the ask process. The reason why Ryan says, right, you'll get more leads, you'll get more sales, you'll have a higher conversion rate, your business will grow so much faster, this will be so much easier for you, is because of the ask method. Now for Ryan, right, Ryan doesn't have 17 different products or programs. So Ryan's business is the same unique mechanism, like it's his unique, it's the product and the business, Magdalena, right? So but when you have a bunch of products, like let's say Melanie, where they're all over the place, let's just say, then you need a different unique mechanism for each product. When you're building a business that is all about, like Ryan, where it's very tight, then it is, it's about that unique mechanism. And so very, very cool when you think about it. Right? That's, if you really look now after this session today and you look around, you will see, wow, I see why this person, this expert, this company is rocking, or why they came on the scene and went, because they brought a unique mechanism, not because they were making some crazy promise that nobody has ever heard. Ryan's making the same promise everybody else is making, ultimately the same promise I'm making, but it's the methodology that it's the unique mechanism. And really the framework, the methodology, the process, it's the unique mechanism. It's all the same thing. Call it framework, call it process, call it method, right? As long as it's a unique mechanism, meaning it's unique to your product or program, and it's the reason why you get X, Y, Z, right? Like the reason why. And listen, let's check this out, right? To kind of put a bow on this unique mechanism. You got it, Magda. To put a bow on this unique mechanism discussion. And by no means is this going to be the last time we talk about unique mechanism. I can assure you of that. But look at what Ryan did in terms of the brilliance of this. And it's why I love Ryan. I truly do. He's such a great dude. The brilliance of it. Remember I said, we talked about, and again, you're going to learn this, so have no fear, that, there's a name. We're not selling the generic. See, Ryan isn't selling how to use surveys to grow your business. That's the genius. Right? That's the genius. It's not like you could learn how to use surveys, or you could learn the ask method. You search ask method, your only option is Ryan, right? And so, like, I've talked to Ryan, before about positioning the ask method against surveys, meaning like if I was Ryan, I'd be saying like, look, you could learn surveys, right? But a survey is very different from the ask method. And it is. right? Like it is. He's got a whole process, right? And so, look, now he's got a unique mechanism that delivers results that he owns, that's proprietary, that nobody could knock off. He never, ever, ever has to go to the next stage. He will never have to leave promise and unique mechanism. He's there for life. And he owns it, and it's beautiful, and it's why he's got a book. It's why his program is so successful. It's why he's right now. When you think about, there are a lot of little people that might be good with surveys, but when you want to go to the master of the whole entire process, who's developed a framework that's unique, it's beautiful. And so you look at that. Same thing, for example. Now it's a little different today than years ago, and we could talk about, some nuances, but let's talk about my nemesis. Oh, did I say that out loud? I mean, my good friend, Jeff Walker. And I love Jeff. Like I said, he is my nemesis, but I love him. You look at product launch formula, right? Like now, while it's known today, and it's been around for so long, and there's been so many iterations and versions of product launch formula. I think Jeff's launching it now again, product launch formula 17.0 or whatever it is, and I have no doubt that it's great and upgraded and all that stuff. But right when that first hit the scene, and even to this day, it's not generic. He's not selling a commodity. He's selling a methodology. He's selling a process. He's selling a framework. He's selling product launch formula. And so, right, while he's not talking about the 17 ways to release your product. He's talking about the framework. And it's that framework that is the unique mechanism. And so hopefully, thanks, Travis. I really appreciate that. You're never allowed on these calls again. It would have been so ridiculous. If the truth is, I'm so not that type of guy to drive around in a Ferrari. I would have had a blast, don't get me wrong, for the first couple times, and then I would have just felt really weird, and then I would have probably raffled it off or done something in some kind of crazy contest. And so it was actually 36 books. So it wasn't 8 books. I would have had a nervous breakdown. If I fell 8 books short, I would have had a nervous breakdown. Don't get me wrong. Let me tell you, listen, it was not about the car. It was about winning. And I'm all good with it, but it was, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I needed like 48 hours to emotionally just lay in the fetal position in my bed. And, it was 48 hours was difficult. Okay. So let me just see something here. I'm going to see if I could bring up, I know that Yassine asked about, I think he said he submitted something. If I can't find it, I will just record a video for him separately. But let me see something here. Let me see. 1 second, guys. See if I can pull up this portal. It doesn't take me a half hour. Get ready, by the way, while I'm pulling this up, get ready, because the next 3 modules are freaking deep. The next 3 modules are, I truly believe that this program, the E5 Masterclass, is more complete than any other. Like, this is my life's work on marketing. And so, I gave it all in this thing. And so wait until you go through it. It's crazy. It's off the charts. So let me just see something here. Community. Hey, I'm going to do this. I know the team is going to kill me, but I'm going to do this anyway, because this is the way I roll. I want you to make a note of this email address. Yeah. Email me from now on. I want you to, you know what? All right. I'm going to give you here, write down my email address. This is the Mac Daddy email address. This is the email address. I just have to think, is this recording going to, no, nobody else is going to see this. This is my email address. Goes right to me. Todd, Todd, Brown, Brown. Wow, I can't believe I'm actually INC. So Todd, Todd, Brown, Brown, INC @gmail.com. And when you want to send, don't shoot me an email. I'm terrible with email, but one of the things that I do, only shoot me an email when you have something that you want me to review. And if there is something that you'd like me to take a look at, I'd love for you to get it over to me for these sessions, right? But if you say, hey, Todd, can you take a peek at this? You can email me in between these sessions, and I will, I'd be more than happy to do that, because I want to see if I could find Yassine's question. But our portal is...
Hey, Todd, can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Yep, you're good. Yo, yo, yo. I guess his connection is... Yassine, where did you type into the... I'm not sure if you can even type in... Where, yeah, you guys are very welcome. Like, this is all about you, right? That's why we're doing this, right? This is all about you guys. And so, I'm sorry, just hang on one second. Let me see. The portal is so freaking slow, I'm going to lose my mind on my team. Let me see something here. Okay, I got it. I think I got it. Okay. Got it. All right, let me move this over here and then share my screen. This is the first. This is so funny. Yassine, is it cool if I share this? I hope that I would feel terrible if not. But so look at.
I think the links are in Dropbox.
Yeah, I got it actually. This is his.
In chat.
Oh, okay. In chat. Oh, okay. So he did. So he put it. Okay. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at. Is that what I'm looking at? Okay, one second. Well, as you put together, he's got like a table of contents in here. I love it. You guys are awesome. Yeah, okay, that's that one. And let me pull up this one. So let's take a look. Let's do this together, since this is the first time that I'm looking at this. I think let's take a look at this first. So overview: real estate investors and wholesalers, niche, sales and negotiations, dealing with sellers, homeowners, demographics, 80% are 25 to 64. So little broad. I would love to know if there is any more, if we can get a little bit more granular. Okay, so 20% evenly split across, 70% male. See, so this is a valuable number to know, right? This, the truth, like, look, right? This is me being, right? Me being, as always, brutally transparent. Not a whole lot I'm going to be able to do with this, because the reality is the age spread is so evenly distributed that there's really nothing specific that we can do. But there certainly is when it comes to the gender breakdown, right? So this is a male-dominated market. Now, the reality is that I would lean in favor of crafting a message. You're going to see this when we get to the engineering stuff, that is more suited for men than it is for women, right? Think of 80-20. In this case, it's 70-30. I'm going to lean in favor of the significant majority. So United States, 65% married with kids. Another great, valuable nugget for us. 65%, 60% are 40K to 100K. That's kind of a big spread over here. So there's not a huge amount that I'm going to do with that. 75% are college grads. See, that's also a very valuable things. So you start to see that what we're really looking for here, right? You're looking for commonalities. You're looking for, right? So we've got the majority are men. The majority are married with kids. The majority are college graduates. So even just right there, we have the ability to talk about stuff and to reference stuff, which you're going to see when we get to the marketing, to the engineering. So mix, 80% haven't closed on a deal yet or closed on less than 10 deals. That's huge, right? So you're talking the overwhelming majority haven't generated a deal yet, right? So we know, I think it was Yassine asked last week, like, do you talk about, we talked about, are we going to end up talking about how to make more money from each of your deals? Well, no, we know that the majority of the market haven't closed on a deal yet, and the majority are working slowly. And so very cool. It's interesting. I know the dude behind this, Yassine. It's got a great business. So prior purchase, photo, direct mail list, experts followed. There he is. By the way, Yassine, you should talk to Damien, because Damien ran traffic for like about, almost $1 million a year for many years for Clever Investor. And so he has got tremendous insights. So 4-hour work week, rich dad, poor dad. Okay. So now we're going to look at, right, wants, desires, emotions, feelings, and beliefs. To be admired and appreciated by investors for bringing them better deals. Their wholesales for accomplished for persuade sellers. Let's see here. This is great, right? Be the breadwinner. Afford good things in my life. How great is that? Feeling guilty for having spouse, wife working hard. Huge. Now think about this. I'm just going to, while I don't want to we're going to get into this when we get to, again, engineering, but think about this, right? The power of being able to tap into that emotion and that feeling when you could talk to this guy, somewhere in your marketing funnel, you could say, right, imagine the feeling when you're able to tell your wife, honey, you don't have to go to work anymore. And how she's going to look at you as a hero. That's so powerful. And so, and just let me say this, those are the kind of deeper things that I look for, right? Rather than, let's say, I want to enjoy what I do. This is the feel guilty is like, this is valuable. I want to enjoy what I want to do, but this is incredibly powerful. And so those are the things that we are looking for. All the I'll buy it later stuff. That's great. Let's see. This is great. Well done, Yassine. See, recognized as an authority, right? You understand the emotion underneath that. Like, you understand, this is where when I said to you guys, you got to start to dig, you got to start to think, you got to start to kind of intuition, you got to place yourself in their shoes, right? That recognizes as an authority. That's the desire for self-esteem, right? It's the desire to be recognized. That's where that's coming from, right? Like, it's not that they want to be an authority for the sake of being an authority. It's that they want to be viewed as somebody important. They want to feel important. They want to be recognized. They want their self-esteem. And so just think about that. Very good. This is great. You're gonna see how valuable this is going to be when when we get to the engineering. And one of the things that you want to look for, so see where over here, guys and gals, he's having a very hard time closing sellers. Very few are accepting his offer. I would flesh that out a little bit. What does that look like, right? That he's, are they working? Like, are they putting in 6-7 hours, getting their hopes up only to be let down, right? Getting blown off by prospective clients? Like, go into what does that actually look like? Right? Paint the picture of what does it mean that he's having a hard time closing sellers. Very few are accepting his offer. He's working, he's putting in 5 hours per deal and losing most of the deals. He's getting shot down. They're saying that, they're going to go with somebody else or blah, blah, blah. And so, he's closing 1 of 20 without much stress. They're accepting it on the first phone call from him. He's enjoying the process of making the offers and the deals. He's treated as a friend and, and well-respected. Beautiful. This is awesome. Let me take a look at this because I think that, okay. So, okay. So this is where Yassine did the product analysis. So, okay. So the thing, yeah, we're going to get to that, Travis, we're going to get to that. Absolutely. And Jaime, I'll come to you if you want to open your mic in just a minute. So yeah. Yeah. So the one thing that you want to do is, for right now, right? You're going to see, you're going to learn how to flesh this out, how to make sure that you've got this nailed. But for the feature benefit ranking, what you're looking to do right now, simply during this examination stage, is you want to take the features, which are the facts about the product, the facts about the deliverables, right? And you want to turn them into what it means for the prospect, what it will do for the prospect. Remember, the feature is a fact about the product or service, and a benefit is what that feature actually does for the prospect, how it changes their life, how it improves their life, how it, how it is there. Oh, okay. I didn't see that on there. Oh, okay. Very good. I pick up my phone when you call so you can reach me when you need me. Unlike the other gurus, if you're working on a deal and you need immediate investment or assistance closing the deal, pick up the phone, call me to help, and you'll seal the deal. You don't have to worry. See, this is great. This is awesome, right? So you can see feature, right? Like feature. I pick up the phone. I pick up my phone when you call. So legitimately, this is really good. This is very good. This is really like, the feature is really direct telephone access to me, right? Direct telephone access to me, so that, right, anytime you need me or you have a question, right, I'm there for you, right? Or you can get me on the phone, so that if you're working on a deal and you have a quick question, you need some quick insight, you need a quick tip or something, you'll be able to get me 24/7. This way, you never have to worry about a deal slipping through your fingertips, and you know that you can feel confident knowing you'll get the direction every single time, right? That's a great example of a feature, functional benefit, dimensionalized benefit, emotional benefit. Let's take another one. Let's look at the daily accountability, right? So you stay on track every day and take the actions necessary to close a deal. you can BS yourself, put off the necessary task that needs to be done. When you're held accountable on a daily basis, you'll make sure you do the right actions every single day. Know that someone is looking after you, so you're making the most of the program. Right. This is great. I would take no and I would expand it a little bit. How would that make them feel? Right? Feel secure knowing that, or feel confident knowing, or feel safe knowing that that someone is looking after you. So, right. So you're reaping all of the rewards from the program. This is awesome, man. Mind map. So you can see the process visually and gain more clarity, right? Build up enhanced understanding of the methodology. So build up an enhanced understanding of the methodology. Information is summarized in an easy to follow format. Okay. So this is, build up an enhanced understanding of the methodology. Information is summarized in an easy to follow format. So when you're dimensionalizing, it's really all about what is the experience going to look like. It's painting a vivid picture of what the prospect's experience is going to be. So this might be like, right? This might be like, you know, so the next time you want confirmation that you're making the right offer, right? You'll pop out one of your mind maps, and in a matter of seconds, you'll be able to see and confirm with a visually pleasing document that blah, 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 that you've got the offer nailed. This way you can feel. The way to think about it is this. The dimensionalized column, you want to flesh it out. Like, this is good. This is a picture of what this benefit looks like, right? So you're working on a deal. You've got a question. Boom. You pick up your phone. You dial 7 digits. And in a matter of seconds, you're on the phone with me, confirmed, feeling great, knowing that you're about to make the right deal. This way, you don't have to worry ever about a deal slipping through. Then we go on to emotion. Emotion is how this experience is going to make them feel. This is great. You'll never feel left out or unheard of. You'll be excited, always making progress. You won't be worrying anymore, right? So see this, enjoy the convenience of, or let me see. You'll have a tribe that you'll belong to and connect with, right? This might be, I might tweak this slightly to say that, you know, you'll feel supported and backed up because you're part of a tribe, right? You'll feel supported. You'll feel nurtured. You'll feel part of a community as everybody else is coming alongside you, supporting you, right? And so we're taking this and turning it into an emotion. So gain more clarity is not a feeling, right? That could be, you'll feel exhilarated as you realize you now have more clarity moving forward. That's what we're talking about. You'll feel exhilarated. You'll feel energized. You'll feel more uplifted as you realize you now have perfect clarity. I love it. That's so nice, so generous of Yassine. Hopefully everybody saw that. He said that he would be happy to mastermind together and review each other's work. I love him, man. He's so generous. So the last thing that I would say here with this, and this is important, is that you want to begin to rank these. And you want to begin to put these in order of importance, of value to your prospect. So there could be certain things on here that are not as valuable. For example, like, you know, let's say you won't miss out, right? Or you never have to feel like you're missing out on any content. You'll never feel stressed about missing anything because you have access to everything. Well, that might not be as valuable. And so you may, you just really want to make sure, Yassine, that you put these in order to the best of this is where it's intuition. There is no perfect answer. There's no science to this. I'd love to tell you that there is, but there is not. And so you just want to rank these. That's awesome. Very cool. This is awesome. You did a great job, Yassine. And so you see this, guys, this is like, if every one of you could do this, and it's not about like, look, Yassine did a tremendous job. Like he did a tremendous job here. If yours is half as good, that's okay. We're not comparing. It's not about being perfect. It's about taking steps going forward. And so, very good, man. I love it. Well done, Yassine. So where was Jaime? It is all about getting started. Well said. Let me see something here. Jaime, go ahead. Your mic is open. Bummer. Is it not working again? Let me see here. Try it again now. Try it again now. No, you're unmuted on my end. Bummer. Type your question into the box. I don't want to let you go without answering your question. Or what you can do is you can record an audio and just email me, and I'll respond back if you want. It's true. So you can either enter your question in here, Jaime, or you can just send me an audio to my secret email address that I gave you, and I'll respond back with an audio. Entering now. Okay. Just chilling, waiting for Jaime, and then we're going to wrap it up for you guys and gals. It's the no. So the profit and growth sessions are group sessions, but the profit and growth, the difference. So this is why I said it's very weird that, it's kind of a cool and interesting and weird dynamic, Yassine, because you guys are going through Elevate, and like you guys are part of Elevate, and you're going through the E5 Camp Masterclass. So the profit and growth calls are all about once a month, you being able to get on with me and address any strategic business decisions, bigger picture decisions or issues regarding your business. And frankly, I am an open book when it comes to that. So you can ask me anything you want, in terms of bigger picture, strategic side of things. If you're, deciding on positioning of your company in the marketplace, if you are deciding on a remodel of your business model or of your marketing model, if you want to talk about your overall marketing model or a piece of your marketing model, like anything bigger picture, that's what those calls are really for. I'm really an open book. You can ask me anything on those calls, truthfully, but the best use of your time is for the bigger picture stuff. And so, Jaime said, so you're giving great stuff. How do you recommend we train our key staff members with all this gold? Do you have a system for training your staff? So look, this is the truth. Just let your staff go through the program. Like, put them through the program. You know what I mean? Like, give them your login, give them access to these recordings. I'm fine with that. Anybody on here that just don't share it with anybody and everybody, but share it with your whole team, whatever you need to make sure that this experience, for those of you with a team, that this experience becomes has the impact on your team. Like the last thing that I would want to see you do is then have to go through that, and then you have to go back and train your entire team on like module 1, module 2, module 3. That's ridiculous. Just let your team go through the program. And so, yeah, let them go through. It's my pleasure. That's, like I said, just, and if somebody on the team asks, on my team, just said, Todd said that my team could go through the program. So, and I'll make sure I let them know, all kidding aside. Yeah, let them go. Yeah, awesome. Share it all with them, your team. Thank you so much, Sheridan. I appreciate that. So let me see a couple of others, and then I'll wrap it up and I'll let you guys get out of here. Thanks so much, Sharon. Sharon said the profit and growth calls are worth the price of the whole program. Yes, I have some business on. So the December dates, not just yet, only because what we're doing for the December planning session, so we have to coordinate with one other vendor. I will tell you this in advance, that we are also going to be live streaming it. So legitimately every year in Elevate, you're going to get one annual planning session. And so, but this year we're doing 2. Going forward in 2017, we're putting the annual planning session on the back of MFA Live. We're going to move MFA Live back a little bit, and then we're going to put the annual planning session right on the back of it so that you guys and gals don't have to travel so much. Like, because I know people came from all these different countries, and, I hate traveling. And so I want you guys to travel the least amount that you possibly can. And so, so it will be in West Palm Beach, but we're also going to live stream the entire thing, so that this year, because it's so close to MFA Live and you guys and gals traveled so much, so we're just coordinating with our AV dudes to make sure this way, like, look, I'd love for you to be there. What's going to happen is, because it is very, very hands-on, there'll be 3 of us live. Like, it'll be me, Teddy, David, and then on the live stream, while you'll see me walk through each exercise in each piece. When it comes time for the work, then you'll have Damien and Chris on there working with you. Still enormously valuable, still great. These guys are trained on this whole methodology, and so it'll still be great, but I'd love for you to be there in person, but I understand that because it's so close to MFA Live this time that we're going to do the live streaming version, and I don't expect everybody to. So we are trying to get it the second week of December, Tuesday, Wednesday, but don't hold me to that, because again, we have to coordinate with the AV. We're trying to coordinate with the location that we typically do with the AV guys, and so hang tight on that. We're going to get that info to you as soon as we possibly can. That's it. You guys have been awesome. Get ready. Carb load. Get rest, because the next 3 weeks are super intense. There is a lot. So, like, to give you kind of some insight, there's over 30 lessons in the entire program, right? So you guys have been through 6 lessons. That's it. So there are 30 lessons in the program. And we go through, like I go through for you, I even included in this next module for you, how to create the perfect front-end product for your marketing funnel if you're in the info business. But then we go into, you're going to be learning over the next handful of weeks, everything from the offer, each of the components of the offer, the thesis, the sub-beliefs, the CPB chunks, the lead, the headline, creating the pages in your funnel, like from a strategic perspective. It's deep. And so get ready. But awesome stuff. Keep going, take action. Don't worry about perfectly understanding it. There is no such thing. It's all about where you're at right now. Keep moving forward. Recognize you are learning a skill and developing a skill, and will possess a skill by the time we are done. I promise you, trust me, I'm promising you this. Listen to me. When we are done in 60 days over this program, you will be able to look back at where you came from in just 60 days in terms of your chops, your understanding, your skill set, and ultimately what you have. and you are going to be blown away. Trust me, this is what I do. This is what we've done time and time again. Trust me, trust the process, and enjoy the ride. Don't beat yourself up about what you think you're doing well or you're not doing well. Maybe next week I'll start off by showing you some of the first sales pages that I put up and some of the original sites that horrify me to this day, but they worked and they were part of the process. And so I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day, a great weekend, and I'll talk to everybody next week. And so be well, everybody.